My 24 female boyfriend, 23 male, doesn't want me on birth control. My boyfriend of about 9 months has always turned down the idea of me going on birth control. He never refuses to use a condom if I ask, but there's been a handful of times where we haven't and we had a pregnancy scare. After that I was insisting on going to my doctor and getting put on birth control, but he said no because he's worried about it affecting me in negative ways. I'm not exactly sure what negative things he's worried about. Is there a deeper reason why he may not want me on birth control? For context, we have both talked and agreed we are not ready for kids, and we discuss that regularly, mostly for me to make sure we're on the same page. And my doctor is over an hour away because I moved, and well, family doctor shortage, long wait list is hell right now. I don't drive and he is my main source of transportation, so he is refusing to drive me to my doctor too. Who cares what he wants? Why on earth would it be his decision? How desperate are you to be with such a selfish and uncaring person? If you allow him to dictate to you after only 9 months in, what do you think you'll be like after a year? 2 years? Stop having sex with him until you are on the birth control you want. This is your body, your health, and your life. Act like it. Refusing to drive you to your doctor? There's having an opinion and there's exercising control. He has no right to this control. Forget birth control. Seriously, don't forget birth control. You need to reassess. If you want this relationship, you need to set some firm boundaries. If this behavior makes you decide you don't want it, walk away. Edit for clarity. This whole situation is red flag city location flag location flag location flag location flag location flag. You are not a child. Stop behaving like a helpless baby when you are a grown woman in a relationship. Make your own medical decisions. You don't have to rely on a man to drive you around. You can literally Google and find ways to get birth control pills online. Stop being helpless. It's your choice, not his. Girlfriend, 23F, went clubbing without me, 23M. I feel a sense of unease. Why girlfriend went overseas with another female friend and 2 guy friends. So total there was 4 people, 2 guys and 2 girls. And they went clubbing together. It was her first time, and as I have never went clubbing before, I felt very uneasy. However, when she came back, I asked her what she did in the club and her stories were very inconsistent. Initially she said it was 3 girls and a guy, she went home early, and she didn't drink. After further persuasion, she admitted to me that it was 2 girls and 2 guys, including her. She went home at 4 a.m. and she drank and played dice games with the other guy friends where the loser had to take shots. I can't help but feel like something was off due to her inconsistent story. I don't know how to feel about this. Can I get some opinions on how I should handle this situation? Loudly crying. When she initially told you it was 3 women, it was because it otherwise looks like a double date. That lie should give you the leverage to ask more questions. If you want to. If you don't trust her, you should just leave her. That ain't your girl, LMAOO. Well, sorry to say, but if she is lying over something like this, what other truths is she not telling you? Is she truthing you about what went on at the club and after? Something's not right and she has broken your trust. The question for you is, can it be regained? I guess at this point all you can do is sit down with her and have an adult discussion. If she veers into your being insecure and controlling, you have your answer. Make sure you write your questions down beforehand, as it could be ugly. Sorry this happened to you, op. Why would you let your girlfriend go overseas with 2 dudes without you, LMAO? My ex used to go clubbing without me too. She fucked other people behind my back. Wake up, mate. Sounds like she's on a couple's trip. Update me. I, 30F, am leaving my husband, 33F, of 6 months. I, 30F, am divorcing my husband, 33M, of 6 months because he decided to have an open marriage. We have been together for 9 years prior to the marriage, and this was never something he mentioned he wanted. Some background. In July of 2024, he asked me to get off of my bipolar medication that I've been taking since 2019 because he preferred me to be my natural self, so being an idiot, I did. About 3 weeks before the wedding, he requested I sign a prenuptial agreement, which I, unfortunately, did. We got married in October. When November rolls around, he states that he thinks we should open the relationship. For context, I am an avid reader, and I read a lot of smut, which includes reverse harems and situations where there are open relationships. So I'm not opposed to polyamory and was willing to give it a shot, even though I was definitely uncomfortable with the suggestion. I laid down ground rules that we could only date together and that we wouldn't do one-on-one dates with people, and only threesomes or swapping, since that's what I'm the most familiar with. It was a very firm rule for me that we'd never be intimate without each other present. We did end up having a threesome with a straight male that he picked out in December, which I didn't necessarily enjoy, and it felt off to me. He said he enjoyed it a lot. We continued to stay on dating apps and had a second threesome with another male that he picked out, which I did actually enjoy this time, but he was also straight. For some reason, he never suggested another female. About a week after the second threesome, he said he met a gay man who wanted nothing to do with me and just wanted to suck him off, and he wanted to go meet him alone. He never previously suggested that he was interested in men. I obviously said no since that broke my boundary I had laid out, and he pitched a fit. He kept on about it until his birthday when he basically said, "I don't really care what you want. I'm renting a hotel room downtown and getting some from this guy." He proceeded to buy a $300 hotel room and left for about 3 hours and came back telling me how great it was. Obviously, I didn't approve and told him that. I said if he wanted to do things like this, then I wanted to close the relationship. He said no. He continues to see this man occasionally, taking him out on dates and spending time with him. He wanted to take him on a trip for Valentine's Day weekend, which is our first Valentine's Day as a married couple, and I lost it on him and said if he did that, I would want a divorce, and he was extremely angry that I said that. Fortunately, this guy broke up with him because he didn't like that the guy he was dating had a wife, so I thought it was over. Nope. He joined Grindr and exclusively started talking to gay me. I was obviously feeling left out and betrayed at this point. He broke the rules that we had originally agreed to. I went on a date and was assaulted. Came home bruised and in pain, and he just said, "I think you need to pick better guys. Let me pick them out for you." I said that I wanted to close the relationship. That I didn't want this, and he said that he didn't want to. He picked out a straight guy for me, and I did end up having sex with him twice because I was lonely. My husband was going on dates with at least 11 men that I know about and having sexual relations on each date. One day, my husband told me he found a website that gives you free STD testing and HIV medication, and he wanted us to join it. I did, and I was STD free, but it messed with me that he wanted to get on PrEP cause he knew he'd continue sleeping with other men. I told him again that I wanted to close the relationship, and he said no. I joined Bumble, and I met a man who knows I am married but is still interested anyway. I tell my husband that I'm going to meet him that weekend and I do. I had a great time, and he's extremely respectful, and I was enjoying my time with him. My husband knew I was going for the night, but he messaged me at 7 p.m. saying that I needed to come home immediately or something bad was going to happen. So I did leave, even though I was an hour and a half away. I get home, and he ignores me. We go to sleep. The next morning, he tells me that he brought a man into our house and was unhappy with what happened while he was there, and that's the reason he called me back. He told me he wasn't gay anymore. He also tells me he doesn't want me to talk to the man I was with anymore because he didn't pick him out. I ignored that and continued speaking with him. A week later we were supposed to go out of town together, but he tells me some other dude he met wanted to meet up and he was going to drop me off at my friend's house and go stay at a hotel with him instead. He did drop me off, and I had the guy he didn't want me to see again come and take me on a date. Again, I had a great time. This is when I decided to divorce my husband. I tell him that I need space and that I'm strongly considering leaving him and I was going to stay with my friend until I made an official decision. He said, "Do what you need to do, but I want to be with you." I meant what I said when we exchanged vows. I call bullshit on that. I move in with my friend and continue to go on dates with the other guy, no sex. I realize that I definitely don't need to return to the relationship I was in and meet with my husband to tell him I want a divorce for sure. He begs me to stay, and my dumb ass goes back. He continues to treat me like shit and point out all my flaws without acknowledging his, like he has done for 9 years. I move out again 3 days later without saying a word in person. Sent him a text saying I was done and couldn't see or speak to him anymore and blocked him. He sent an email saying that I agreed to an open marriage, and it was my fault for agreeing. That I never should have said okay and that if he'd known this was going to happen, he wouldn't have suggested it. He sent me divorce papers but said, "This is a draft, but I really wish you would reconsider and speak to me face to face. I want you to be my wife, and I love you." I'm now planning on signing those papers and sending them via mail because I never want to speak to him or see him again. I can't get any money because I signed a prenuptial agreement, but I just want out at this point. I also got back on my bipolar medication 2 weeks ago and feel much better. What would you do in my situation, and do you think I made the correct decision? It sounds like he trapped you when he knew he was most likely gay and was trying to keep up a facade. You need paragraphs for this. Also, don't sign anything until you talk to a divorce attorney. Bring a copy of your prenup. Sometimes certain clauses can't be legally enforced. Divorce is the best option and I know you're angry and want it over with ASAP, but don't sign anything in the heat of the moment. Not a lawyer, but considering that he insisted you stop taking your mental meds and then demands you sign a prenup, I'm not sure if that would hold up in court. After reading about his fascination with gay sex, I don't think I would classify him as bi. Sounds more like he is gay but can't come to grips with that. No matter what, you gotta leave him, but you also ought to consider therapy for yourself because your head seems to be in trouble. Your husband is gay. Don't worry about the prenup. If you've only been married for 6 months, you wouldn't get much out of a divorce that you didn't already go into the marriage with. Your husband is gay. He can't suddenly decide not to be gay. He will definitely continue to fuck around, he'll just hide it better. You were his beard. The relationship with you was to show the world he was straight, because he is uncomfortable admitting his sexuality. Get a lawyer to look over the papers, then get out of the marriage as fast as you can. He's gay. You married a gay, maybe bi man who trapped you because he wanted the facade of heterosexuality to put into the world. He wanted a beard. The minute he got it, he pushed you away and pushed you into an open marriage so he could pursue his homosexuality. He was dishonest with you about who he really is and convinced you to stop taking your meds so he could exert control over you and manipulate you. Get your stuff together, prepare yourself, stay with your friend, and divorce him. 41F, suspected husband, 46M, to be having emotional affair. Was I gaslit? Reposting here as my post was removed from the relationships community. 41F, have been married to my husband, 46M, for 7 years, been together for 17 years. Last year was the most challenging time of our marriage as I discovered him being very close to his female colleague, 36F, married with 1 child. He insisted nothing was going on, and said he saw her as a man and treated her as a good friend, nothing else. I had many questions, however. In their text exchanges, 1. He changed her display name to Ruru, a nickname. He said it was to make fun of her. 2. She mentioned touching his shirt and how it was so soft. 3. She said things like, maybe it's referring to our marriage, falling apart and I'm just filling a gap that I shouldn't be filling. 4. He told her he enjoyed foreplay, the exchange itself wasn't sexual, per se, and more of a matter of fact, oh most men do, etc. But just, why would 2 colleagues even talk about foreplay? 5. She mentioned that if she caught her husband texting his female colleague this much she would probably lose her shit. Then why is she doing that with mine? They also texted incessantly, even on weekends and when we were overseas for holiday. And they went for lunches together, and would go for walks together cause she wanted to clock her 10K steps. And he never really mentioned her to me cause he knew I didn't really like her from the first moment he mentioned her to me. When I told him I think it was minimally an emotional affair that he was having, he blew up on me and accused me of not trusting him, that I only felt this way cause she was female, and if it had been a male colleague it would be nothing. This happened last August. While he has assured me that he has stopped contact with her and I'm the only one he loves, I've been an insecure wreck as they still work together in the same school. I want to trust him, but I can't seem to be able to. I check his messages, and he allows me to, now and then, but it's been difficult to say the least. I'm seriously wondering what I should do. Was I gaslit into thinking I was overthinking things? Make copies of the text messages and anonymously send them to her husband. I'm not saying it's the healthiest thing to do this, but I'm not a healthy person. Contact her husband anonymously. They work at a school? Lol, they're one of those married teachers everyone's suspect are having an affair. If he doesn't admit to having an emotional affair and tries to get you to believe that this is just a friendship banter, then he's definitely gaslighting you. The 5 points you listed are all of his actions done as a result of the emotional bond he has. And this emotional bond is not bordering an emotional affair, it is an emotional affair happening. Contact the woman's husband to compare notes. His colleague referred to your marriage as falling apart, and questions if she is filling in the gap? What other proof do you need? Clearly he has already told her, or heavily implied, that he is done with your marriage. He wants to sleep with her or already has.